Peace, everyone. This is Ujima Study Group. We meet every second and fourth Wednesday from 8 to 9:30 p.m. And so today's the fourth Wednesday, and we'll be going in today. You see our website here. We do have various programs that we use for outreach purposes, and that's www.ujimatribe.net. Visit our website, become a sponsor, become a member, donate, and support to our cause. You also can contact me at my number 706-957-2110. The purpose of this study group is to stimulate mental unity, independence, and love, and to facilitate the Shem Malachi Bey's proposal to the people to facilitate the Treaty of Liberty, where we're able to exercise self-determination and political legitimacy amongst the unconscious Moors, classified as Negro, Black, Color, etc., where we have political protection to protect the future generations. And so today we'll be looking at the silent weapons for a quiet war. We'll be looking into detail of some of the manuals of how they're constructing the situation for capitulation, and so you have the military term of capitulation, and you also have the international term of capitulation, which they're attempting to facilitate the concept of both amongst the unconscious Moors. Here's an event that we had at our community garden. We had over 100 people out at the community garden where we were executing outreach, building a portfolio, a trust in the community that they see that we're organized. They see that we're able to operate amongst ourselves. You have the LaGrange High volleyball team on your left, which our vice president is the head volleyball coach. And so the theme was volleyball and vegetables, where we learned about agriculture, and we also play vegetable because we know we play volleyball because we know our people are competitive, and so we had a competitive component, just had the children to get out, play, talk, talk crap and play against each other. And then we also talked about the importance of pulling weeds. What's the weeds of our mind? We have weeds of our mind that hinder us from progress, doubt, envy, hate, etc. So these are the weeds that we have to continuously pull from our mind, so we make that connection of sports. When you have an event, when you have a game against another group, if your skill set is similar, both of you all have the same similar skills, what is it that you have next? Y'all both on the same level of skills. The only thing next is the way that we think, the weeds, the debris, the contamination that's in our minds, and how we execute our view. And so we tied that into the event, which probably be the annual volleyball and vegetable event, where we bring together the younger generations, and we also made notice of the Declaration of the Rights of the Child. You see that banner. We making it known right now as planting a seed, the unseen world, planting a visual seed, where every time that they see Tribe Ujima at these different events, they're able to see the Declaration of the Rights of the Child banner. They're able to see the national campaign, where we'll be taking photos all across Morocco, what's been known as North America. You'll see this banner, in Philadelphia. You'll see it in New York. You'll see it in Boston. You'll see it all across Oklahoma. You'll see it all across in different areas where we'll stimulate unity across that principle. Every child shall be entitled from birth to a name and nationality. So that banner is always at our events to stimulate thinking. We know that Black is not a nationality, so we're planting a seed. Same concept of agriculture. You don't do agriculture all in one day, where you go out there, you till the land, you feed the soil, you plant the plants. You don't do all that in one day. You determine what you will plant. You feed the soil, you clean the area. So this same concept is being implemented in the national campaign, the Moorish national campaign of the Declaration of the Rights of the Child. That same concept of agriculture, which we've been successful. So I wanted to connect it, that we've been successful in agriculture and progressing gradually with our fruits and vegetables. We have a care package program where we give out free food to the community to stimulate unity around organic produce, around healthy options. And so that banner, you'll see it all over our events, where we stimulate human rights principles and international norms to our people through the stage of planting the seed, the physical images, the repetition, the shirts that we'll have. And that's what you'll see here next is this is the banner of some of the staff that was at the event. You see the Declaration of the Rights of the Child banner with some of the staff. And so we had a beautiful time at our event. That wasn't everyone, but it was a lot of us in that picture there, but it was not everyone. We're going to practice. We're going to practice. Can y'all hear me? Brother said he can't hear me.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, and if y'all see something in the chat, if I don't address it, that's just because I can't monitor both at the moment. But yeah, so this is the national campaign. Some of the staff will practice taking the photos at the beginning so we can capture all of the staff. You can join this national campaign. We're setting out a list of procedures on how you can join. We'll have a petition that you're able to fill out. You're able to purchase a shirt, and we're stimulating group economics, finance amongst ourselves, circulating the means of exchange amongst ourselves. And so you can purchase that shirt. This shirt is a 3D shirt. It is $50, well, 50 notes for this shirt. It's 3D shirt, full shirt, all the way down to the end, where your purchase will support the expansion and outreach of the campaign. We'll have objectives, why are we doing this? What are we seeking? I'll have that in the following study groups so that you can be more aware of what's going on and why we're doing it. But know that your purchase stimulates the expansion of this program. And so 20 of the notes goes back towards, designing, outreach, maybe travel. If we have to go somewhere on behalf of the campaign, wearing our shirts, being amongst the United Nations and their different executions of pushing international law. So we'll be connecting ourselves with various other groups that's pushing the Declaration of Rights of the Child, that's into human rights and things of that nature. So you'll see a lot. You'll see this shirt a lot, and so be sure to start saving up and purchase a shirt to support the campaign. And so yes, that's the shirt. I hope you all like it. I'll be getting mine real soon. You'll start seeing me wear it, doing lives with Brother Abdullah and others, probably Brother Kano and King and others, where we'll have the shirt on. We'll be pushing the shirt to stimulate awareness around this principle. Because we know that if you don't have a nationality, that connects everything else, the education, the food, the protection of your rights, everything. If you don't have nationality, it leaves way for the rest of it to be abusive in nature. And so be sure to support the national campaign on the Declaration on the Rights of the Child. We're planning for our 5th annual Easter event. I'm gonna be have this flyer up every study group so that it's sinking to our minds, where you're able to assist by becoming a sponsor of 50 notes. We get 60 sponsors between now, and January, February, and we'll have the cost for this event to be able to execute it, to expand it, to make it more professional. And so you can support. If you don't have 50 notes, you can send 5 notes, 10 notes, 20 notes, 50 notes, 100 notes, however, whatever you can send. We'll have our treasurer will log. So when the payments come over, we'll log it in the category. So it'll have Easter event, start to event. And then when you send your $5, your 5 notes, we'll put it in that category. So it won't be spent on anything else. It'll be put in the category so that we see, okay, we got $2,000 for the Easter event, no matter what we got in total in our account, but we don't know how much is allocated towards the Easter event. It's going to be real important, this concept on how we're able to practice finance amongst each other, where we start putting back, a dollar 50, a dollar a note, one note, 50 cents. Today I've started my envelope, so I've been every study group I've been putting back, something 50 cents, a quarter, a note, two notes, five notes. So make sure today that you put back something, so when we start collecting dues and things to propel this thing forward, that we have something in our reservoir, that we have something put in place. And this is the art of agriculture, planting our seeds, and then watering it. So make sure we're planting our seed, our financial seed, so that when the time comes and we need more finance to do other things, it's not coming to us as if it's new. We know that it's needed. And so we have time during these study groups to put back 50 cents, one note, two notes, etc., to be proactive and be planning ahead. And so you can cash out, you can send to our pay, and this same information for the shirts as well. You can cash out and you can PayPal, and it'll be under its own category, national campaign, Morris National Campaign. And every time we have a purchase, we'll have the treasurer log it, and then we'll have proof of it in our Excel spreadsheet, where we're able to export it to a PDF. And so that'll be added, so y'all can see, as we begin to make sales, how much we're raising, with the shirts. And so we'll have all that as we begin to purchase shirts, we'll have that available. So you all can see their progress. But your PayPal, Zelle, Ujima Tribe 9 at gmail.com. You also can do check or money order, and you can send that to 1957, the P.O. Box, LaGrange, Georgia, 30241. Helping our people elevate. You're able to go on and see community conversations and various other topics on this channel, that's consistent with helping our people elevate. So be sure to subscribe. Take right now, go subscribe so you can go back and watch a lot of the videos that Brother Kono's doing. A wonderful job in this community and bringing concepts and principles to other communities, through helping our people elevate. So be sure to subscribe and become a part of that channel. The Moroccan Post Media School of Government and International Law has various free courses that you're able to get, that'll help progress us forward. It's been helping me a lot. And like I say, I'm still behind on so much. I'm working to catch up, to make sure our principles are correct so we can facilitate what we need to facilitate. And this channel also helps with that. So be sure to go listen to various free courses, that'll compel you forward, answer a lot of your questions that you may have. Go to this channel, Moroccan Post Media, and be sure to subscribe. And so today's session, Silent Weapons for a Quiet War, July 24th, 2024, Wednesday. What is your political status? Deprivation of rights of color of law, annexation. And so we'll be looking at these terminologies throughout the study group today. What we don't get to, there'll be a part 2, and that'll be August, I think 18. It'll be August 14th is the next study group, and that'll be part 2. I've been slumped and been real busy, so I actually did not complete part 1 in its entirety. So bear with me. And I have more time between now and the next one to kind of touch it up and give more clarity. So feel free to chirp in when you need to give more clarity, to bring more advice or different concepts on the topics at hand. That'll be very helpful and beneficial as we look at this through cooperative learning, and we discuss, what we see through this study group, through this presentation today, on how we see the different weapons dealing with political expansion of the foreign United States. And so we're talking about the silent weapons of law, not necessarily going into the weapons of food and media, even though media is used as a weapon to push dogmatic principles, So we'll look at that and how they use media in that perspective. But the end goal is to strip us, to have us stateless without any political protection, which connects all the other things such as food control and how we travel, etc. And so, silent weapons for acquired war, an introduction programming manual. And so here on the top left, you'll see code, implied, written, criminal, federal safety, lawmakers, policies, permits, rules, government, which is so pseudo government, statutes, philosophy. You'll hear Brother Abdullah talk a lot about them, taking out philosophy. So you see philosophy, and this is in the concept of silent weapons, penalties, enforcement, environmental, dealing with agriculture, even releasing bugs, certain bugs that eat other bugs that throw off the balance. All of that's going on, but we're not going into detail in that for us, the bugs they release and how they use that to, or how they use that to offset balance in nature, and you'll see some of the beneficial bugs, if they get eaten by an unnative bug that's released and the beneficial bug is not able to do what they normally do, you'll see things shift. And so that's all part of the environmental war that's going on as well. And so you have social reform standards, etc. You have a bomb at the top. I wanted to put that bomb on there so we can associate the rest of this with a weapon. So you have the bomb, you have a gun, you have spelling, you have food, just as and all on the left, the environmental, enforced government policies, criminal permits. All this is in the same category. It's all a weapon of war. And so you use a gun, to duress and to coerce someone into agreement. And that term could be looked at called capitulation. And we'll see, how they exercise capitulation through various means of the weapons that's presented, through spelling, through food, through the concept of something being set off and detonated. This is King. Oh, peace. And so we see various different weapons, explosiveness, where you're able like COVID can be looked at, as something that's explosive, because when they issue different legislation, it affects various people um in that political container. And so it's like a bomb is able to reach various people, as a bomb is meant to blow up and to blow up various people, or to be hidden where you're not able to see it, where you step on a landmine, and when you step on that landmine it explodes, and so you can see COVID as a bomb, where if we're not in the right position and you step on COVID, you step on being under attack by, you can't work this job. You got to, take this vaccine. This is an explosion. And through with this explosion, it's reaching multiple people. So that's why, that's an example on why I have the bombs up there, because a bomb can reach and hurt multiple people, as a gun can, but a bomb, can blow up. You have terrorists who put bombs in buildings. So they have to evacuate the building. And so they using legislation, but we don't see it. So we don't know we need to evacuate this foreign political process that they put us in through color of law, through spelling and language. And so we're not evacuating the building. Mentally, we're not evacuating these connotative principles, this color of law principles and misrepresentation of law. We're not able to address it because we didn't have the proper concept. So this is a bomb that's being let off, that's being exploded, and it's reaching millions of unconscious Moors. And so you have food, etc. And so these are silent weapons for a quiet war, an introduction programming manual. I want us to see this in the same light. It's like I was a part of a gun club, where we patrolled the community. We stood in front of the police, we told them what we were gonna do, what we wasn't gonna do. We done that. And so, but my mind was conditioned. I thought that I was brave. I know I thought I was, you know, we out here in front of the police, we got the weapons out, we can do this, type thing. But I didn't consider what was all already staged. They were operating as farmers, and I didn't know what all the preparation that they put in, onto their farm. I just thought it was just nice flowers out, and so we thought that we could patrol the community and thought that that would effectuate the change that was needed amongst our people. And so um the gun you see is where a lot of our people are. They think that's what they, because that is an issue. You have a lot of people coming up missing. I seen what Brother King was sharing, always sharing what people coming up missing. So I began to share it just so people can see, it's not, everything's not okay. And but yeah, so yeah, the weapons is being looked at in a broader sense. And so we're going to look at an introduction programming manual in the sense of the political nature of how they're displacing us and putting us in a container of color of law. Somebody, if you can, take this read for me.
Silent Weapons for Quiet Wars, an introduction programming manual was uncovered quite by accident on July 7, 1986, where an employee of Boeing Aircraft Co. purchased a surplus IBM copier for scrap parts at a sale and discovered inside details of a plan hatched in the embryonic in the my bad in the embryonic days of the Cold War, which called for control of the masses through manipulation of industry, people's pastime, education, and political leanings. It called for a quiet revolution, putting brothers against brothers and diverting the public attention from what was really going on.
Diverting the public's attention to what's really going on. So that's another bomb, perception. And where it's exploding and it's reaching a whole bunch of people, it can affect multiple people. Same thing like what a purpose of a bomb. And you see education. This is just part of the summary of what it's about. And you see the word political, and you see the word education as being the forefront of what's being created. That's the focus point. Is education and political leanings through manipulation. Manipulation is one of the bombs. How to manipulate people through media exposure, Facebook, Instagram, John Dewey, them when they reconstructed what we know as education today is not the original meaning. So the word education had been weaponized. It also is a bomb because what? It affects multiple people. So only, not just a bomb can hurt multiple people. Constructing education can hurt multiple people. And these are the more sophisticated weapons that's being used to maintain conquest and to expand conquest all across the world. Same concept. And so we need to be able to identify, like in the gun training way, we talk about de-escalation, a situation, assessing the area, and things of that nature. So we got the same thing with this. We got to be able to assess the area. We got to be able to assess what's going on so that we're able to de-escalate our ignorance, or reduce the ignorance, because we'll see it as a weapon. We'll see it as that gun, like the gun clubs do. They see when the police come and shoot somebody, that's violence, that's a weapon, that it gives them something to, they look at it now, they get emotional, they want to go march, but they only when they see them get shot with the gun do they do that. They don't see when they get pulled over and they being called Negro Black. They don't see that as that gun. That's all. So that's why I'm taking my time with connecting why all of this is on the screen, and this political weapon which displaces us and keeps us in the color paradigm, that keeps us in the that thought process, and so education and political leanings, brother John Dewey, Windut, and it was another, I can't think of the names, that helped construct the modern education. It's funded by the Rockefellers. The Rockefellers fund it and they push it through these universities and colleges. It's how they, get research to do a lot of this stuff. So we see education and universities and colleges being used to compose certain weapons, whether they know it or not, consciously why they're researching what they're researching. But the information is being taken to what? To manipulate industries, people, education, political leanings. It's called for a quiet revolution, putting brother using university, using Harvard's, and etc. And so we need to come to this to be able to see all the little weapons and not just, I need to learn how to use guns. I need to learn how to use guns, which you do. But if you just have guns and you don't see, you haven't assessed you haven't assessed the area, you haven't assessed what's being propagated on your people, then the gun won't be effective because that's all you think a weapon is. You only know how to shoot a gun. And so that's not enough with the type of opponent that's been birthed out of this ignorance. And so we'll go to the next slide here. Security. And you'll see social control. That's why I have it highlighted. It's other things that we can point out in here, but social control is what I want to lean towards. Anybody want to take this slide? Security.
Security, it is, I'm reading off my phone, patently impossible to discuss social engineering or the automation of a society. The engineering of social automation systems, silent weapons on a national or worldwide scale without implying extensive objectives of social control and destruction of human life. Slavery and genocide. This manual is in itself an analog declaration of intent. Such a writing must be secured from public scrutiny. Otherwise, it might be recognized as a technically formal declaration of domestic war. Furthermore, whenever any person or group of persons in a position of great power and without full knowledge and consent of the public uses such knowledge and methodologies for economic conquest, it must be understood that a state of domestic warfare exists between said person or group of persons and the public. The solution of today's problems require an approach which is ruthlessly candid, with no agonizing over religious, moral, or cultural objectivity of values. I'm sorry. You have qualified for this project because of your ability to look at human society with cold objectivity and yet analyze and discuss your observations and conclusions with others of similar intellectual capacity without the loss of discretion or humility. Such virtues are exercised in your own best interest and do not deviate from them.
And so that's the security of their plan and the social control. So they setting the stage on how a small group of people can control a large group of people, so that everybody wouldn't be aware of this kind of weapon because they would be too satanic, and people they couldn't make it ongoing. So a lot of their, the way that they're able to project what they're projecting is due to ignorance of not only unconscious Moors, but what Europeans as well are being puppeted under this tool of manipulation to maintain conquest, whether they're aware of the conquest or not. And so ignorance is also a tool, a weapon that's being used. The social control. You go to Brother O'Connell's various session, the Fathers of the Modern Race Paradigm, that you can find on helping our people elevate, where he goes into your Franco Beniers, your Carl Linnaeus, Johann Frederick Blumenblatt, and others who help recategorize the unconscious Moors into a social paradigm where you got like black, Negro, Indian, well, etc., where we all put into different categories. And this is for social control. You'll see later in the presentation, if we get to it today, where they have a metrics of measuring of people by the contracts we fill out. Because, so I was looking at that and how they was looking at, financials. They look at like bank deposits, what are we spending our Federal Reserve notes on, which is an indicator of where your energy is being used. And so they look at energy in a sense of how to control energy with using these words, where your energy is being deflected towards something that's not of benefit for you. And so you see energy, we've been taught, Federal Reserve notes, what we think money, but it's really your energy. Where you spend your energy is the finance, is the economics, is where you spend your time. And that's so they have us displaced where we're not spending our time in government structure. We're not spending our time in learning the legal norms and principles of law. And so what they do is they take that from us. The energy is there, but it's being displaced through different outlets on how they feel like the energy need to be. The energy never left. But if they could control how we disperse our energy, then that would be a plus for part of what their social control was. And you'll see the Negro, Black, color, African American are part of this social paradigm that puts us in the category which regulates our energy and how we use our energy. And when we fill out these forms, because we're agreeing to certain things that's not ourselves in our sovereign capacity. And so when we filling out these forms, they're looking at our bank statements. This is all data for them to track the maintenance of their conquest, through how when we go to colleges, when we go to high schools, all this is a paperwork. You got to fill out stuff, the trash. They even go through trash to see what we're purchasing at the stores. And so this is how you can monitor so this is like that bomb where you're able to monitor a lot of people just based on habits. But the habits are created through the social paradigm of the Negro, Black, and color, because once you know your nationality and who you are, your view of things become different. And so our energy is being under attack, with these words. And for them to maintain the security of that state of thinking, they needed to keep it secluded from the masses. And that was part of the destruction. You can have like nuclear warfare, because it say the destruction of human life. You associate that a lot of times with nuclear warfare. You say, after the nuclear warfare, the plants won't be able to grow. That's destruction of human life. A lot of, we got to re-evolve and all of that. And so this social weapon is equivalent or stronger. I'm putting it in the same level as a nuclear bomb. Social construction of language is on the same level. It's destruction of human life. Same thing as a nuclear bomb. So if it's a nuclear bomb in the building and we don't know how to disarm it, that bomb can what? It can explode and it can, mess up nature, the contamination and the nuclear weapons where shit won't grow, And so same thing with the social weapon. Once this was executed and released in the educational systems, what happened? It was an explosion went off. We didn't know how to disarm the bomb. And so the security of how they maintain where they at is through social control. And that's where you can go back and look at Brother Kono's Fathers of the Race Paradigm study sessions on helping our people elevate, where you're able to see in detail of how they categorized us. And that just breaks down the further categorization where they, you got black, color, blah, 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 blah. Then you got the wealth gaps. You got whatever the low income community, the medium and high class. And so you begin, but the basis of the division is what? The dismantling of your sovereignty. That's the basis of it, of all the latter that's to come. So the first, that's the social, because it's created. The social, it's created out of Johann Frederick, the Black Negro color, Johann Frederick Blumenbach, Francois Bernier, and Carl Linnaeus. So that concept, the new division of the earth, was a concept created as a tool, and they just took that tool and expanded on it. And now they're able to maintain their position through us being Negro, Black, and colored, through what we're purchasing, through all of those means. But the basis, like I say, is the color, us in the color paradigm. The color mindset is the maintenance of this social weapon. What's the maintenance of a person violently beating on you? How do you maintain that? You keep the people who don't know combat. You keep the people who not aware of de-escalation of situations, communication, for us in a tactical situation. So that's how you can keep a people physically restrained, is you don't teach them combat. But how do you keep a people groomed to checking off all this stuff on applications? What? A social tool needed to be created. And so that's all you see is a weapon of destruction of human life. When we check Negro, Black, and color, you hear them say that, that the weapon has been let off. It's working. So now we're here to counter that by the Shem Malachi Bey's proposal with mass community outreach and teaching the norms and principles of law, which will correct us and get us back on track. Anybody got anything they want to add or say before we continue on? All righty. Historical introduction. Silent weapon technology has evolved from operation research, a strategy and tactical. See, it's tactical. They didn't come to the people and say, we're going to enslave you by doing this. The reason I say that, because we have a lot of unconscious Moors. They're marching. They say that they hate everybody, Black power. I hate the rest. We saw Black sovereignty. And so what are they doing? There's no tactical approach. So you see a dumb down. We going to expose to our opponent that I don't like you. I want to take the land back. You're just going to openly just say it. And so that's not a tactical approach. And so you see a lot of unconscious Moors and conscious Moors that don't know strategy of war. It's because they're not familiar with the various weapons that's been presented to us. And so there's no tactical approach to the Moorish movement. There is now, because but I'm saying, but it's been a lot of just upright, just saying stuff without any tactical approach. And so the operation research was a strategy and tactical methodology developed under military management in England. And so you see England, you see other nation states assisting, still all in. So United States just a continuation. England still assisting them with silent weapons, with operation research. And so silent weapons, let me mute somebody. You see silent weapons for quiet war, page 5, World War II. The original purpose of operation research was to study the strategic and tactical problems of air and land defense, which the objective of effective use of limited military resources against foreign enemies. Logistics. So what's the logistics behind the Black lie? The Black power, the Europeans need to go home. The Europeans are in our land. What's your logistical approach to say that? Because just going out there saying, that, what's your logistical approach? What's your political protection? How do you, when they issue legislation, that attack the children, the ones that are not sound in law and principles, they're going to be moved by that weapon. They're going to say, I don't want to get in trouble because of the United States. I don't want to violate, so they thinking they be afraid. You can't build a military like that, and so when you see that, what would be the solution? And so we got to have a logistical approach. We got to have a treaty amongst ourselves so we can re-enter the family of nations, so we can remove ourselves from being belligerent, stateless, out of control, inhumane, because we'll be showing self-determination. We'll be showing international means amongst other families of other nations of the earth. We'll show that we have political legitimacy. They were able to work amongst ourselves in a sense of constitutional capacity. And then we insert that into the larger community. And so these are tactical approaches. You have to have these are logistical approaches. You can't make a claim to an enemy and you don't even know what you're gonna do. If they were to act on the Black Lives Matter people saying, "Oh, this is our land, we the ancient people, the European need to send back home," if they were to act on that, what position are you in to hold that statement? And so we have to have a tactical approach, not just a bunch of stuff we're saying has to be, and that's what the Shem Malachi Bay proposal is, the tactical approach. In the future study groups, we'll break down the Shem Malachi Bay proposal. We'll look into it to break it down. But first, I wanted to present the weapons that's already at hand. The solution is already being presented, but it has to be from a tactical approach and not just Noble Drew Ali said, or because somebody said, Taj Tariq said this, Abdullah Bay said that, Shem said this. So it has to be a tactical approach. And so that's what we're dealing with. So we're not random, and we won't expect so much progress with just out here randomly doing stuff. We'll see that there's a strategy in place to maintain what's been done before we came to this understanding, overstanding or understanding. Before we came to this, there was already stuff in place. So that's why it's very important to facilitate national unity, national principles amongst our people, is to get us back in order, to get us back on a path the way you can support what you're saying. Ancient people of this and all of that. You have to be able to have stuff in place. So that's why I wanted to go through the silent weapons. I want to take my time so we can see what's already in place to maintain the Negro, Black, and colored, etc. It's a tactical approach. They're not just going to people saying, "You're not black, you're not black, you're not a Christian, you're more." That's not a tactical approach. It was soon recognized by those in positions of power that the same methods might be used for totally controlling a society, but better tools was necessary. Because you have like the Sundry Free More Act 1790. You have other cases where you see we still had consciousness of certain stuff. So they knew that they had the position, they had more dumb down needed to be done. And so better tools was necessary. Historical introduction. Somebody take this slide for me. Social engineering. You heard in various of the Moorish body politic, the Moorish study groups, you hear the word social engineering a lot. You hear etymology, semantics. And so, and you have people say the meaning now. That it don't mean that today. So what's that? That's social. That's the point. The weapon is that they would tell you that it don't mean something today. That whatever word that you say, and you try to use etymology, they'll say that it don't mean that today. Say, go to Google, go to the Webster dictionary, go to the Merriam, whatever dictionary, and see, look, it don't mean that. Now, so they've been engineered to say that, so that the new meanings, the connotative meanings would create a way to monitor the energy. So language is being used to monitor energy. Words are being used to suppress your energy. On your expression of yourself, words are being used that have an energetic value that are putting us in a colorable venue to make us less expressive. Because we don't have knowledge of we can't do the Sankofa. We don't have knowledge of our principles, our culture, our rights, our festivals, our holidays, our ceremonies, and so that's channeling your energy. I could take away that energy where you had the festivals, the rights, using language. Because you're a witch. Then they give you're a witch if you said do this. If you do this, you this, you do. And so they use languages. And so this was social engineering. So we would arrive to capitulation. You have the war meaning of capitulation, and you have the international meaning of capitulation. They using both. And they didn't have to use the word capitulation. They could, so they using international language, you know, in their construction, so that they can gradually graph us out. So somebody take this historical introduction slide.
Historical introduction. Social engineering, the analysis and automation of a society, requires the correlation of great amounts of constantly changing economic information or data. So a high-speed computerized data processing system was necessary, which could race ahead of the society and predict when society would arrive for capitulation. Relay computers were too slow, but the electronic computer, invented in 1946 by J. and John W. Mauchly, filled the bill. The linear programming in 1947 by the mathematician George B. Dantzig. Then, in 1948, the transistor, invented by J. Bardeen, W. H. Brattain, and W. Shockley, promised great expansion of the computer field by reducing space and power requirements.
And so you see, the mathematician, these people went through colleges and universities. And I know I seen a video a while back or a live, and a brother got under a brother Abdullah's post and said, y'all just talking. What's the point of doing all, there was something, I can't think of the brother's name, and I never forget that, because that means he don't understand what's going. These colleges and universities groom their people to be able to express their position in the world. And so without the proper education, you wouldn't have, a Presper Eckert or a John W. Mauchly. They needed to go through what? Or they wouldn't been useful. And so I just say that because the guy got under the comments and he was saying how, oh, we're just talking. It don't mean nothing to keep doing the lies. What are we doing now? How are we executing? What are we doing now? What are we doing now? What are we doing now? And we don't see this as the now. We don't see proper concepts as the now. At least that brother didn't. And so he can be groomed for capitulation, because we don't see the importance of principles on how we maintain what we want to express to the world. So it's not just about going to do it either. It's about how do you maintain it. So when you talking about conquesting, they didn't just go fight the natives, and it was a phase of maintenance of after they that part of, so there's maintenance. You see what's going on, this maintenance through the social engineering, so they can keep the position that they have us in. And education, colleges and universities had been, whether they knew personally or not, when they issue bills and legislation for funding to further research certain topics and areas of study, it's so that they can take that information and have automation of society to get you ready to capitulate. They just not out here learning stuff. A lot of people look at like we're just on here just today, just going over information. The purpose is so you can be the next W. Mauchys, the Presper Eckers, the next, Abdullah Bays, etc. And so but if we don't have the right principles, we won't be effective. We'll be like Malcolm X's, which would be it, meaning there's no maintenance of it. If we keep starting over generation after generation, we'll just be talking about what somebody did and how cool they was in a sense, but in still being subjugated. So we got to look at the maintenance, and as well as we progress, what's the maintenance of what we got and how do we maintain it? And so that's your treaty, that's your constitution for us, the future generations, so that they have a way out of capitulation. If they won't have a way out of it, they don't know that they're protected and that's not being executed and expressed in the family of nations. Anybody want to add to this slide before we go on to the next one, or got any comments, questions, criticisms, advice? Capitulation. Capitulation in international law, in the history of international law, any treaty whereby one state permitted another to exercise extraterritorial jurisdiction over its own nationals within the former state's boundaries. So in the history of international law, any treaty whereby one state, see how they using international law terms? Capitulation, you have capitulation treaties. So they trying to keep themselves, it's just how their wordplay is, and so in the history of international law, any treaty whereby one state, so the United States is one state. I mean, they make up of various states, but I'm saying that they have a constitution. The United States has a constitution, and so they're a state. That's a state. So you have the United States, whereby one state, the United States, permitted another to exercise extraterritorial jurisdiction over its own nationals within a former state's boundaries, Morocco. The term is to be distinguished from the military term capitulation, an agreement for surrender. So they're saying that through these social engineering, through these means, over time, they would gradually get the people to surrender, because so much ignorance, they would look at the United States colorable venue and not know how to deal with this weapon. And so they'll be ready to surrender. They won't know how to express themselves. So that's what they're grooming us to be ready to surrender. The term is, go ahead. Oh, go ahead, Brother Dooley. I think, was you finna say something?
No.
Okay. And so the term is distinguished from the military term capitulation, an agreement for surrender. There was no element of surrender in the early capitulations made by European rulers with the powerful Turkish sultans, who were motivated by a desire to avoid the burden of administering justice to foreign merchants. Later capitulations, which in the case of China and other Asian states resulted from military pressure by European states, came to be regarded as, and in effect were humiliating, derogations from the sovereignty and equality of these states. So we got a few capitulation treaties that we'll look at so we can see capitulation in the treaties. And like I say, it's distinguished from the military capitulation, and also the international meaning of capitulation are distinguished. And so it says by the European rulers with powerful Turkish sultans. You'll see in various treaties where you see Moors and Turks protected under the same treaty. So but you'll see a gradual deletion of the word Moor in a lot of information. So don't let you not seeing Moor, where it say powerful Turkish and Moor, don't let that associate with, oh, the Moors wasn't powerful. You just see deletion of certain words, because that's part of the engineering. It's part of the automation of society. They're using language to take out certain things to regulate energy movement on what your energy is spent time doing. And so it should have been more. You should have seen Moorish and Turkish sultans, but just so know that there's an operation going on. So that don't let that throw you off. It threw me off. So I started learning more about the treaties, and you're seeing Moors and Turks protected under the same treaties. And so you see that these people are under the same political umbrella. So they have commonalities. They have things in common. They're not all different. Anybody want to add anything? So capitulation was later to be known as extraterritorial jurisdiction. Anybody want to add anything to, or express something on capitulation? Any questions on capitulation? We'll look at a few treaties of capitulations in the next slides. So with this, all this being said, so cause see what's going on is if we don't see enough value in what the purpose of the study groups, we won't be inclined. It needs to be a bunch of other study groups, you know. And so another purpose of me presenting this is to put a fire under us. We're not like it gonna talk about distractions, and they come out with Project 25 and these different. When we get caught up and we're not proactive enough, it's we it's like when we see we talk about it as if there's not enough information already been presented, that we need already been working and doing stuff. But like because of Project 2025, we need to do some type of mindset. You already got enough stuff. The decrees from the Pope. You already got operation research. You already got executive orders, etc. of why we need to be able to see we're under attack already. We don't need to wait for something to happen to be like, oh, we need to go march and need to go do this. It's enough already. You're already on the attack daily. So the importance of the study groups is to counter the social engineering operation, which maintains the conquest. So it's not just we just study groups and we just come on and listen and we don't participate. And it's to facilitate multiple study groups so that the outreach can be projected on a quicker level. Where everybody we want to do it quicker. But we have to have a maintenance area of how is it maintained. So we have to have structured study groups. You that's listening, we need study groups. We need you to have one study group once a month where you're on expressing something, where we can pushing people to get on these platforms, pushing the national campaign, being part of the Morris Investigative Committee, so we can organize, how we want to legislate our feelings on how we feel to the nations of the earth through legal norms and principles, through proper procedures. Well, we want to show the violations of the the nations of the France, etc., England, Great Britain, Portugal. We want to show the different abuses, and so we need all of this in working, all of this facilitating. It won't happen as we want it to happen. The time is on us. What happens is on us. And so we don't need to capitulate. A part of surrendering is not having your study group. When you don't have your study group, it's like you being groomed already. You're already kind of capitulating because we're not looking at we're letting the weapons be. We're letting them put guns on people's head, and bombs in our children's play areas. There's bombs being put over there. And so our study groups are to counter those bombs that's put in the playgrounds, not physical bombs. I'm saying the concept of how it's maintaining the purpose of the conquest. And so the study groups are very important because that's part of the proposal and part of the outreach method of creating proper procedures and principles so that we're able to express ourselves as a state, as a body of people. And so we're capitulating right now in the sense of surrender to this kind of weapon. You say that the study group's not good enough. I don't have a study group. I got a list of reasons why I'm not starting my study group. The famous capitulation of body does not seem to flow with the new definition. And so I don't know if you want to say something on that, Pacola. I don't know if you want to give us clarity on that. The famous old deception of the sign by the Sultan of Granada appears like.
So I'm sorry, I'm just coming in when I can. I'm so sorry. Yeah, I was just reading the definition, and I'm moving, so I just caught it, and it seemed as though it's a watered down version of what capitulation really meant. And I see that it appears like more of a modern definition of it, whereas that famous surrender of Granada by Bobadil, he's known by something else, the Sultan, they actually have made such a big thing about that they painted a photo of that scene, that famous scene of this Moorish Sultan being made to surrender or die, and your kingdom dies. So give it up. And it was done through military might, according to what I have read before, and also according to that photo. So I see that they've only relegated the capitulation surrender in relation to China and all these modern times, and not for what that was. Right. So I don't know. I mean, for me, I got to do more research on it, because the way that they're joining it as if it's a voluntary form of peace treaty, extraterritoriality relations. Well, no, that capitulation from the early time I've ever even heard of the word, it was, you're going to die right now. What you going to do? It was a military force. It was more military might behind that capitulation. So I just wanted to indicate that as I read the definition, it seemed like a more modern reconstruction of capitulation. So I just wanted to throw that out there, and anybody got some up-to-date information for me or whatever, please let me know. But I got to go back and visit this capitulation topic again, and this word again. Thank you for bringing it out. Peace.
Yeah. So yeah, so anybody else want to add anything to that? And so yeah, we got to make sure we're not in a state of surrender, with not being active enough in the study groups, because they're real important, and they get us in a sense of leadership, not afraid to make mistakes, because any military general is not afraid to make decisions to propel his troops forward in a situation. Since a lot of people call up in the gun side of war, they just see guns. I'm saying even the military generals, they're not afraid to express themselves, make mistakes, to propel ourselves forward in the sense of starting our study groups. A lot of times we may not have enough information, but that's not the reason why we shouldn't start. Don't let that discourage you on why you shouldn't begin to do your study groups, because you have others like Picolas, the Kings, the Brother Abdullahs, etc., that are able to help come on and groom you. And so we grow in it. But just not doing anything is a sense of surrendering. How I see it, it's like we're surrendering now that we know the different forms of weapons. If we continue to see somebody put a gun on your nephew, on your niece's head inside of your home, you're gonna say, "I'll fight the police. I give my very life." If somebody come in and put the gun on my daughter's head, we got to have that same feeling with the social engineering of society, and how they're grooming our children through these silent weapons. We got to say that in the same manner, and if not, that we're not really operating to readjust the attack and the maintenance of the conquest. And so just coming on to the study groups is not enough. We have to begin to create our own study groups on a structured basis, where we're projecting what's in our mind and having our presentation, so that we can gain more clarity. We have post them on the different YouTube channels so people can go back and watch them. So we got a good structure set up. So we got to utilize that, the helping our people elevate channels, the Moroccan Post media. We got to see these as we see a knife, as we see a blade, a bomb, as we see a gun, a sniper. And so that we get compelled to act. You don't go to a battlefield and say, "Look at Abdullah Bey, them fighting off all the Europeans. Look at Brother King, them just hit him with a combo." And you on the battlefield just watching King hit him with a 3-piece. You just watching. But I'm a Moor, and I'm all of this. But I don't know enough. I haven't fought in years, so I'm not gonna help King. King just slammed Buddy across the stone, and another guy sneaking up behind him, and you just watching. You just listen. You don't want to read. You don't want to read a slide. You're watching King fight 5 people. You're watching Abdullah fight 100 people. And you get there and say, because you haven't fought in a while, that you're not going to help. That's how I see this. So I'm not just on, just be on. We out here in battle, and people don't want to read. People don't want to bring ammo. People don't want to make sure the food supply good. So when you ask to read a slide, that's how I see this. Capitulation.
Excellent point. Definitely. Just to add a little something, you know, when you talk about capitulation is to surrender after negotiation of terms. So now you've negotiated what the terms are. You said, okay, this is the agreement. And then now you surrender. The reason why our enemy is in control now or continues to be in control is because, first of all, we haven't gained the knowledge as a people. And then on top of that, we're not doing anything to counter what he's doing.
Right.
So as you're saying, Kwasi is right. Like, you know, get in the fight. You know what I'm saying? At least learn and teach one other person or something like that, or do something, because you know what's going to happen. Those people who are in darkness, or those people who don't know, they're going to be dependent on you, me, Nicola, Terrence, King, you know, Pono, everybody. They're going to be dependent on everybody here that's on the calls and that's in this movement that we're doing. They're going to be dependent on us. So what we have to do is continue to learn, to research, to study, and we're getting there. We're getting there. I've seen how our group is growing, and there's more and more uh, tasks that we're taking on, and there's more growth that's actually taking place. So I'm glad you mentioned capitulate, because that brings up a very important issue, which is, you know, you're deferring, you're relenting, you're submitting, you're yielding. You really just going on the battlefield and saying, all right, you know what? Let me lay my gun down. I surrender. I'm gonna put my hands up and I'm gonna walk on. I'm not even gonna put up a fight. So, but how we're putting up the fight is by educating, by having the classes and the workshops and the different things. So you know, excellent point. Excellent point. I yield.
Islam, appreciate that value, brother Kanal. El Kanal. Anybody else want to add anything? Today, go ahead.
Let me add this in. As I talk to Abdullah and we dialogue even more, it's so important to understand these legal principles so that we can get government. The government is what is needed. All of the things like compute, how you say the word? Capitulation. How you say
Capitulation.
capitulation? All of these things, right? Or assortments of ideologies based on this legal ramification and studies. If we know these legal principles, if we already had these in place, if everybody knew and understand how to go about doing this properly with these legal principles, we can put it in, because that would shut down all the other things. And now we can focus on government, running government. That's where we at. The whole purpose of all of these things happening is because we don't have government, period. And if you don't know how to understand the law, these legal principles, we're never going to get to running government to ensure that none of these things happen. And if you don't understand this and know how to outthink and outwit your enemies, we're going to stay in this position. That's why it's very important for us to understand. And I support everybody on here. That's why I'm here. The more Abdullah, me and we talk, and the more we look at this, I have a truly way better understanding of what I thought I did before. And I yield.
Islam. Appreciate that, Brother King. Um, and I'm still learning you all too. When I'm doing these study groups, and like I said, I just see us on the battlefield, and I'm just getting in where I fit in. I'm still learning. I'm still growing. But if I see that Brother King is running out of ammo, I can at least go get the ammo. Or I'm just putting it in. I know we're not. I'm not saying it in a negative sense, like we're trying to go to war against somebody. I'm putting it in. I'm just giving an analogy of so we can see it from a weapons perspective. If I see that, Brother Abdullah is on top of the hill, he's a sniper, and then somebody sneaking up behind him, I'm not gonna say, "Oh, I don't know what this mean. I ain't gonna do nothing." I gotta get in. I gotta just do something. I gotta just get involved in it. That's what we want to see. That's what we're looking for this thing to progress. When we say, "Why is the government not up at? Why is this not at?" Because we need more of that. We need, like I say, the legal principles, like Brother King just mentioned, the education, like Brother Elkanah was just saying. We're doing it, and I'm not upset. I'm just kind of that's how I be thinking when I look at the situation. Is we got to get people comfortable enough. We got to be able to do presentations because you won't know every little thing on the battlefield. You may have to pick up a gun you've never used. Is all I'm saying. Capitulation in the history of international law.
Hey, Quasi, let me say something.
Uh,
Uh, Brother Raheem and Brother Raheem and DuPont,
Slaw.
Raheem, DuPont, and Brother Nakeem were at the summit, the human rights summit, this past weekend. I talked to Raheem yesterday, and I talked to DuPont on Sunday. And I said to both of them, next year when we go, we're going to be, next year when we go, we're going to be greatly prepared. DuPont said that the lunch breaks were 2 hours long and that they, can y'all hear me? I'm in the tunnel.
yes, yes.
All right. Lunch breaks were 2 hours long, and during 30 minutes of the lunch breaks was spent taking pictures. They were very enamored with DuPont's fez. I said, next year, DuPont, you'll have the business card. About will be 20 or 50 of us there next year. You'll have the business card with the QR code on the back. They go right to the website. They'll see the letter that we're going to send in 6 months to UNESCO and 10 international organizations, letting them know what we've been doing dealing with this national campaign that Crosby mentioned, Declaration of Rights of the Child. Also, the facilitating Moorish government. They'll see that. We'll have a lot to offer. We'll go there with our portfolio. So when we talk to people from Bolivia, Cuba, and Colombia, because those they were there. That's what I talked to DuPont. So DuPont and Raheem was so excited. So hey, Raheem, you tell your experience, but like I said, we'll be ready next year. We'll be ready next year.
It's long. Raheem Allah Bay, New York territory. Yeah, with the response we got from everyone, especially around the time of lunchtime when everyone was running around taking pictures, they were coming up to us with like they were happy to see us and they wanted to take pictures with us, like ambassadors and NGOs from Italy, Canada, Romania, Guinea, Nigeria, all over. And actually, the ambassador, Linda Thomas Greenfield, she's the permanent representative of the USA to the United Nations. She was saying that her staff, for lack of words, were all Moors, but not conscious Moors, but they were all Moors. And she gets flack for that, but she wants us to be more present. She said, we need to see more of you here.
So Islam, I leave us with that.
Islam.
So next year we need a heavier and stronger presence.
I'm gonna be there, bro. I'm gonna be there more. I'm gonna make sure we're gonna get the date. And I don't mean to cut y'all. I just like to, I try to save ahead of time. Like, so now we know it is next year. So what the only so now I'm trying to figure out the actions of it. So now I know when I say I'm a little smooth, put back $10, 10 note 20, So I'm gonna be doing, I'm starting that. I'm gonna start that. I'm gonna be there. I'll be there next time to support where I can because I got time. I got time to plan it. I can take stuff off of the schedule. You ask Brother Abdullah Bay, like to Philadelphia. When we went to Philadelphia, he kept telling me this is important. We got to be able to prioritize what we're trying to express. And so I just say all that to say, yeah, I'm gonna put it on my calendar and make it a priority. Where other stuff I can't book other stuff on top of that. It's easy to go. We just got to put it in my mind that we need to go. And then when we get the date, just already mark it off a couple days before, a couple days after. So I'll be there, pledging my support to be there next year as well.
Yeah, and peace. One more thing, they were saying, right? They need to see more of our children, because they have youth ambassadors for human rights. So they were saying that they need to see more of our children there also. So,
Oh yeah, okay. You making me? I'm just thinking, making me want to. Maybe I need to be trying to. Maybe we could get to look at some vans. Maybe we could take a group of children when we facilitate doing our different outreaches. I know I got some with like the chess program, the Easter event. I don't know when the Human Rights Summit will be, but we have hundreds of children at the Easter Summit. So maybe if we have transportation and maybe we can, have some shirts they can put on the shirts because we got time to plan like that, and maybe we can.
right.
Get some vans, get with a church or something, and bring some children. So I'm gonna keep that on my mind too. Maybe try to get some children to participate.
So we also trying to put together like tours for the UN, right?
Mm-hmm.
At least 2 times a year for the youth also. And we'll have the youth ambassadors or whoever that wants to take a tour of the UN, where we're planning on putting that together also.
Islam. And maybe just so do we have the date for is it already the date out for next year? Did we already have the date?
Not sure, but I'll keep it in mind, and I'll put it in the group. What I mean, when I get the information.
Okay, and what I do is how we do the at the beginning where we talk about like helping our people elevate the Moroccan Post Media, the stuff we're doing with our organization. We can add that in so it'll be a constant reminder all throughout. It'll be a constant reminder of the date. Maybe we figure out what we need to implement, what we need to do. Um, and 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 yes, and the reason I'm doing it, we're gonna stop at capitulation, only because I gotta do a few things before the end of the night, so we can continue to kind of talk about capitulation. It'll be part two. Part two will be August the 14th, and we'll start back at capitulation. I'll try to look at some more older definitions of capitulation. And we still some treaties we was gonna look at. So, but we'll do all that on the next study group. We'll look at a few treaties that are capitulation treaties, to kind of give capitulation a broader view as we continue throughout the presentation. But we kind of open it up for a few minutes of like we're talking now about the human rights summit, which I was gonna go this year, but it was just so much on me.
Islam.
Islam.
Hey, Professor Ill. I just wanted to contribute and also just to tie up some ends. Okay, so as you stated before, some people are more active than other people, and so people are waking up in their own time. I've been working with Ambassador Bay probably a year and a half now. There's two organizations. One is AMISA, the African Middle East Economic Sustainability Alliance. There's about 35 countries that have been trying to come together up under Ambassador Bay to work with each other in our needs and concerns within our territories. The second organization is the International Human Rights Commission, USA, Regional, which is an organization that he created. The person in charge of the organization is Messiah Bay. I am the only other person on it that I know of with Messiah Bay besides it may be the other brother that came with us that's part of Ambassador Bay's group. And so therefore, my point with bringing this up is that there has been activities surrounding the United Nations dealing with some of us, and we have been reaching out, you know, I'm only with one person, but I've been informing people about Ambassador Bay. Two things. One, when that Moor walks into that United Nations, and there's some photos on my website or my page showing this. I helped them organize the Ambassador Bay's children's tour from the ground up. He did it already the previous couple of months, but he asked me to be involved because a lack of participation, lack of people. And I heard him say, wow, you know, we can't even get nobody to help this year, kind of thing. That's the reason I stepped up. My hands are tied with so many things I'm doing, but I knew enough to try to pitch in. I organized the, Ambassador Bay's youth tour. I did it intentionally with saying Ambassador Bay. I got a little flack from some of the other people, nation, if you will, why we have to say Ambassador Bay. I let them know very clearly that our land is up under subjugation here. We are one of the most sufferers, Moors, mislabeled, Negro, Black, colored, African American. We are one of the most misrepresented people for human rights, remedy. And so therefore, because Ambassador Bay himself is a Moor and had been standing strong for about 30 plus years, the fact that he's recognized through other organizations and through several letters, he is recognized as a Moor, and he's recognized as a helping hand to restore the Moroccan Empire. One of his letters read that actually also. So a lot of people don't know of him, but he's been active for a while. But because he now is presenting himself at the United Nations, he's walking around with his fez. He's standing out. That's a cue for anybody that, knows who we are, but want to keep us buried. That was very important to put Ambassador Bay's tour, because there is no Moors that we know of that's from this territory that is in any political status or title that can help make us visible. So when he walks into the United Nations with his fez, absolutely he stands out. We had the children to do the tour. We had Ambassador Bay's name, Ambassador Bay's tour for a reason. We know that the United Nations do their own children's tour, but again, this is almost seeing what they're doing on our land, but what we're not doing on our land. So none of this is new. People have been out there trying to push. Ambassador Bay had said, Moors are so lax that I can't even get 20 Moors. This past December, he was trying to get at least 20 Moors fezzed up, turbaned up, to go on a tour at the United Nations so that we can have a presence. So a lot of times a picture paints 1,000 words. You have to talk all the time, but you have to be present. But sometimes you can even put a monkey in the suit and still get away with it. So even sometimes clothes don't make the man. We have to watch that part too. We watch a person's actions, but he's matching his actions with his words. I was in fact, I put a posting on Facebook, very proud to hear that he was stopped to ask anything. I thought it was staged, but now that you're explaining that they had an hour of lunch and the person was going around, yes, you're going to come to somebody that looks distinguished, because a brother in a fez or a sister in a turban, you're going to look distinctive on this land if you dare to stand up. So I just want to put that out there that yes, the Human Rights Commission USA Regional needs more members within it. This human rights thing that they are creating, Ambassador Bay was trying to get people to come last year. He himself went alone. This year, again, I guess some people found out about it and was able to step up, which is great. But just know that he's got an organization here on the land, which is the IHRC Regional USA. Just know that we need members for that. So I just want to put that out there.
Islam, just for clarity, this is Raheem Bey. I was with the brother.
Islam,
with the brother I was with the brother Nakeem, me and DuPont. So it was the three of us that was there at the United Nations.
Yes,
The
I
tour that
saw
I'm
you.
speaking, everything that you're speaking about, Pacola. So I'm on it with him also. So
Exactly. Thank you, brother. Thanks for that.
with the NGO and the IIHRC and MISA also. So
Right. And so we and Messiah Bay is, was one of the main ones for the legal team of the International Human Rights Commission USA Regional. So we're supposed to, what Ambassador Bay tried to do was set this up for us Moors to become conscious and participate in our own remedy by having us. I have a badge that is, I have a badge right now that's in the car. I have a badge right now that other people have copy of, and it says Human Rights Defender. So some of us, we really, really, imploring you to pass that we need people that have maybe a legal background or meaning legal as in if you're paralegal. And if you have a legal background as a layman, that too. But we need participation so that we can defend ourselves on our own land. I'm listening to the conference. I was looking at, glimpses of it, and it's great that we're doing it in all totality. We're doing it because we got that mind of inclusiveness. But let me tell you that we cannot forget ourselves in this journey. There is an organization that's here. It's present that we need to participate in, because if we had human rights offenders, whenever somebody did have to go to court, in which we're not necessarily wanting to go on those tribunals, but if you did, you would at least have someone that is conscious and basically in their face to say, yes, we know what's going on here.
That's
so
what
I just
do.
want to put that out there.
That's Islam. I'm a little late to this meeting. My name is Minnie Zonkel. I've just probably heard the last few, probably 10 minutes of what you were talking about. And I heard some very interesting things that I like. And y'all are pretty much moving in the same direction that I'm moving in. Well, that we're moving in. I'm with the Moorish Republic. I don't know if you've ever heard of it, but I'm with the Moorish Republic. I'm the chief representative. We're based out of Indianapolis, Indiana. Right now, a few days ago, I just filed a suit against the United States for basically treaty violations, not the Treaty of Peace and Friendship, but actual recent treaties, recent human rights treaties. And one of the issues in the suit is that we are being forced into a U.S. citizen status. So, that's one of the things I can prove. I have the records. I also have a book out. It's on Amazon right now. It's called The Apocalypse of a Moor. And it has about 14 years of research in just straight law, constitutional law, history, a lot of things that talk about the movement, clarify a lot of things about the movement, clarify a lot of things about Moors in general. But our main thing is to move as a nation under international law as it pertains to law, period, and our relationship with the occupying force that is here. Once we can, a lot of people confuse going to the courts with asking permission to be who we are. Well, we're not asking permission to be who we are. We are forcing them into recognizing us according to their own laws. That's what our goal is, because their own laws, if you study them, will show you that we're not U.S. citizens. We never have been U.S. citizens. We've never been a part of anything that they've done. They actually tricked us into this situation. The 14th Amendment, when you do the research, the 14th Amendment gave our ancestors the opportunity to apply for U.S. citizenship. It wasn't an automatic thing. And then those immigration and naturalization laws that they had to go through weren't made till 2 years after the 14th Amendment, and they weren't advertised. So they've had our people for the past 100 or so years believing that we were U.S. citizens. And that's one of the things in the court case that I just filed that's going on right now. I've sent letters to the UN Secretary General. I've sent letters to the Human Rights Commission, and they've been blocked. They were blocked by the United States. I have a letter that's been sitting in a New York post office for about 2 years now that no one can seem to find, but it was directed towards the UN Secretary General. Our main thing with the Moorish Republic is law. We fight. We won a few cases in Tennessee, well, a couple of cases in Tennessee, based on the lack of the court's jurisdiction. We filed cases in Philadelphia, filed federal cases in Philadelphia, Texas, and this one in Indiana. Basically, like I said, we're just trying to use the law and the treaties. Like, okay, there's a difference between a declaration and a treaty. A lot of people are making the mistake of using the declarations as their point of law, but a declaration is only what it says it is. A declaration. It's not necessarily law. But there are treaties, there are human rights treaties, which are law, which say the exact same thing. So one of the other things that we're trying to do is to educate our people on the law. What is law and what is speculation or what someone wants something to be. Because if you're standing on emotions or feelings or how you think something should be, you'll never make it. But once we start standing on actual law, then that's when things start rolling. Things are rolling now. Like I said, we won cases in Tennessee. They were minor cases, but we won them according to what we asked for. We won them according to, I don't know if anyone's heard of the term nolle prosequi. Basically, it's saying that the prosecutor is saying that they don't have jurisdiction to try this case. So far, we've won 2 cases like that, based on nationality and subject matter jurisdiction of the courts. So that is, and with that, so I'm gonna end it with this. Everything that there's a lot of information that people don't understand that is in that book that I post, and it clarifies a lot of things. For example, we the people of the United States, in the preamble of the Constitution, we are we the people. I have congressional records where they literally say that we are we the people of the United States. And there were 2 different United States mentioned in the Constitution. You have the United States, which is us, and then you have the United States of America, which is them. They actually make the distinction in these congressional records. That is also in that book. I don't make money off of it. I get probably $3 a book. So this is I'm not doing this to actually I've given out I think more copies than people have bought. But yeah, it's an education on law and actual history and truth.
Hikola Kusail. Brother, thank you for sharing. I'd like to get your information, and I'd like for you also to get the information of the other brothers that are spearheading the Moorish investigative legal group, and also as I mentioned to the International Human Rights Commission USA with Ambassador Bay's group. It would be great for me to give you that information of those contacts. If you want to contact me, you can, or Kwasi, you also have my information to pass to the brother. But it'd be great to have this legal law discussion, if you will, in on a platform that's actually for that, and that would be great, because I don't Kwasi had his own agenda with his own teaching thing, and he left the space for us to talk right now. But it's so moving what you're talking about, that yes, there's been other movement by other Moors, and if we could collectively come together to work it, then we'll be in a better place. But the individual efforts are honorable, but we really, we're really trying to put it together. Thank you for sharing. And again, if you can get my information from Brother Kwasi, and then I can, help connect you.
Islam. Can I say something? What we're looking to do is create a tremendous presence with this campaign, Declaration of the Rights to the Child's campaign. Raheem and DuPont, I mentioned to them, go there next year. We're going there with a large portfolio. We're going there, we're writing a letter 6 months to UNESCO and to 10 organizations, NGOs that deal with human rights for children. We will have a tremendous presence. So when we go there, we want to show them. See, we got to move from a position of strength. We're going to show them. This is why I'm saying 6 months you write the letter. You don't want to write what you're going to do. That's weakness. You write what you've been doing. So when we go there next year to United Nations, we write something. It will be a year of activity. That banner will be all over the country. You have people who want to get the banners. They'll be in Detroit. Banners in Detroit right now. I'm on my way right now to Detroit. You'll see us live. You'll see us live tomorrow night with the banner. Live on Friday. Live on Saturday. Live on Sunday with the banner. Right? I'll bring the banner back to Philadelphia with me. Go live with that. I'll be mailing it back again. I'll be getting my own banner. I'll be getting the t-shirts next week. So we're looking. We had a meeting with Kwasi, and I had a meeting with Sister Sasha. Sister Sasha is part. She was one of the keynote speakers at the conference. She is on the committee of the World Conference of Mayor. World Conference of Mayor has a committee. There's a committee of Save Our Children.
Is this another form of respect for the matriarchy here? And I think I'm hearing.
Say again?
Sometimes people just don't get it. You know what I mean?
I can't hear you.
Sometimes you have to give acknowledgement. Moors need etiquette. Moors are missing the etiquette. And
I can't hear you.
Patience. I don't get it. Brother said
something. I can't hear you.
And it was just shut down. Like, I don't get it.
I can't hear you. I'm on this bus here.
I think she was talking to somebody else, but had forgot to mute her phone.
All right. So, as I was saying, that we gotta create a great presence, a worldwide presence. We and we have this movement has been not as visible as it should be, and we have to change that. So I was talking as I was saying about Sister Sasha. She belongs to the World's Conference of Mayors, and the World's Conference of Mayors is going to endorse the the national campaign of the Declaration of Rights of the Child. They have a lot of activity, funding coming in, right? So this is going to take this to another level. She's also part of the Peace and Love uh, conference. They have one in April, and they'll have another one. The main one's coming in September, being September in Harlem, next to the Victoria Hall, next to the Apollo Theater. So we are the focus is the point is to create worldwide attention regarding the human rights of particularly the Declaration of Principle 3. This is why we have Principle 3 on the banner, because the other ones don't apply if the Principle 3 is not brought to the attention. So the Declaration, everyone has a right to a name and nationality, which is a fundamental right. So we got to be creating worldwide attention. I was the keynote speaker last year at the United Nations, the Ambassador's Day Tour. And Sister Nicola has those pictures. And I'm going to have her post those pictures. We took pictures there in August of last year. So, but it has to be, things don't just happen. Kwasi always talks about structure. It has to be structured. There got to be a tension, got to be committee. We have the Morris Investigative Research Committee. That's structured. So we're working in that. So we have, I reached out to about 50 people regarding the t-shirts. Got about 25 responses. T-shirts are $50. And $20 will be used to, portion of the finance will be used for the, to go into the call first. We have to get a website. It'll be a separate website, Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok, email. Those will be up. Those will be up within the next month. Right. So this is in line with the plan. This is in line with the Shimadakai base plan, because that is education, networking, and outreach. The Moores Investigative Research Committee is in line with the plan. Education. King and I were on Red Pill, Know the Ledge last night. I reached out to Dr. Naila. So I'm waiting for her. I just talked to her. She'll get back to me. We're very focused and serious. Brother Menz, we talked last year. And thank you for coming on the platform. So we did talk last year. And now, so that we'll looking forward to continue to grow. Now you'll see me live. Like I want to do a live when we do when I'm at a rest stop, do a live because I'm promoting the lecture, which is on Sunday. Sister Nicola and I will be at the lecture in Highland Park, right outside of Detroit, on Sunday. We'll be having a festival Saturday. I'm scheduled to arrive in Detroit on tomorrow morning. All right, I yield. Brother Kwasi.
Everybody on mute.
Kwasi. Just saw him peep his head in. Brother King, you still on?
Islam Picolicus are ill. Brother
Yeah,
respectfully
I'm still on.
indicated that he needed to go. So I think that we should just honor the brother's absence as a signal.
Yeah, that's what I called him. So we can end. That's what I called him. So we can.
Yeah, I'm still here, brother.
All right. Well, before we end, King, because Quasi did text me that we can go as long as we want. So I'm just informing y'all. Quasi text me that we can go as long as we want, but we won't. We won't. So just do a 1 minute, King, on what we talked about last night on the platform.
Okay, I'm gonna make this quick. Last night we went in on the red pill and blue pill platform, and we spoke about the importance of the principles of law and how the principles is the underpinning of everything when we're talking about running government. It's the fabric of everything. It spills off in everything. When a nation decides what system, form of government that is going to address, and we're talking about these things. So we showed how this is important to know, because on a domestic scale, the stuff that we're doing here in the United States is, and based on these principles, is rooted in the same international principles. So if we understand what we express, is that if you understand this, it'd be easier to make the transition and position ourselves and argue the basic applications. We'll be able to have this skill and be able to have this knowledge to not only write and analyze case law, because the principles is in everything. You'll be able to take this onto the international arena and be able to spew this out very easily. So on the show, we just address, application of law, source of law, what else? Substantive law,
Operational law,
procedural law, and we address all these different components because it's a lot of moving parts. But if you understand the principle, right, it'll channel and it allow you to think proper. It makes the process easier when we talking about even litigating your own case right now. You see what I'm saying? Once you understand these things, like the substantive language in the statute, and once you understand like the two legal systems that is right now that we're in the civil law system and in the common law system. We're in a dual system. Most of us, if we ask a lot of the community, they don't know what kind of system of law we're in. So when we started breaking down all of these different elements to this, it was easier and to explain to the people that these principles are rooted in the fabric of law. And if you understand this, it'll just be easier to show the people not only how to legally analyze cases and read cases and judges' opinion, but it also will give you the ability to write claims, write defend claims, write motions, properly how to properly use an affidavit. Because it ain't nothing but a test, it ain't nothing but a finding of fact. It's a finding of fact tool. It's nothing but a testimony, like you sitting on a bench taking an oath. You know, a lot of us think that if you file an affidavit, that's the end all be all. No, you got to understand these principles to show you how to go about doing everything. And I promise you, if
you got real low.
Yeah, your volume, brother. King, whatever you did, something, change up, do something.
I ain't do nothing.
You can't hear you. Can't hear you.
I don't know what happened.
All right, you're good. You're good.
Okay, so if you, I mean, once you understand these principles, it'll make your life easy. You know, once you understand these legal principles, you not only will you be able to help yourself and write motions and pleadings, but then it'll show you how to run government. It'll make your life so easy. And you won't have to go through learning all of these different paperwork processes because you will be rooted in principles of law. And it is just easier that way. And that's when I learned that way is a lot more easier. And I found myself winning a lot of cases based on this aspect of learning the principles. I yield.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing a Red Pill had asked us to do a Patreon workshop on Patreon. He has that, so that so he's gonna be setting that up. All right, so we'll end, Brother Kwasi. Keep this head in. Kona, are you doing your class tomorrow? Elkanan, y'all doing the class tomorrow? No. Not on. Wazi? I guess we can, yeah, because he said, oh, just stick his hand in. Because he did text me. We can go as long as we want, but we'll end.
Peace.
He's away from the videos. All right. This was a good presentation. Appreciate everybody's input. Like as I said before, we gotta become visible on the world stage. We got to put the attention out there and do the work on the world stage. Let's think world stage. I'm not thinking national. World stage. World stage. Beyond national. Gotta think world stage. You got to change the trajectory of this movement.
Islam, I just want to add one more thing. We have to be able to stand on truth. We have to be able to stand on facts. If we can't stand on that, we will never be able to advance or succeed or do anything that we're trying to do. That is the one of the main things that I've encountered when dealing with other groups all across the country. If you cannot accept facts, truth, and law as they are, not how you want them to be, but as they are, like the brother said, these principles, that's one of the reasons why so many of us fail, because we're looking at things how we want them to be, as opposed to how they actually are and how they work in law. So yeah, in doing the things that we're doing and in studying the law, that's the one thing that we do have to be able to accept, even if it is contrary to what we want to believe. That is what I run into with a lot of people, a lot of brothers and sisters. With that, peace and love.
Yeah, they just lack knowledge, brother. That's why. The reason why you're running into that is because of the misconceptions that have been out there for so long. They lack knowledge. That what changes that is there's only one way to change it. There's not two. Only one way. Knowledge. Education. We raised the Europeans up. We raised the Europeans up with education. We the Moors, raised Oxford University has Moorish curriculum. That's Moorish curriculum in Oxford University. It's not European curriculum. That's Moorish curriculum at Oxford University. They translated Arabic text to Latin. That's Moorish at Oxford University. So they raised them up. They're using the knowledge that we taught them, our curriculum, at Oxford University. 600 Cordova, 600 manuscripts at Cordova. Cordova, for a period of 400 years, 700 to 1100. Cordova was the leading world institution. Every people throughout the world came to Cordova. It was education. The reason why our people speak the way because they lack knowledge. They've been given misconceptions, processes, no concepts of principles, process.
Yep.
So that's why we do. So men, this is why you wrote your books. Wrote your books so that you can educate the people. I wrote because I can educate. We have classes so we can educate the people. We can remedy that. You remedy that and by education. Yeah. There's only way that's how the European. How did the European get to the position they are today? Because of us.
And
us.
It's not when I say I've met a lot of brothers who I'll use an example. I met a brother one time and we talked and we were talking about him joining the Moorish Republic and we were talking about law and all these things and he was with everything that I said. He was with everything that I said. Except when he started talking about joining us, he said that he was worried that his people would not like the fact that he was doing it or something to that effect. But it was almost like a total 180-degree turn. If we're talking about the welfare of all of our people and trying to get together and do all of these things, and you see all of these things, then why wouldn't you think about that? Why wouldn't you go talk to your people about that? Because the Moorish Republic has a whole constitution for the running of a government, elections, everything. The states become provinces. The territory of the Moorish Republic is everything between Canada and Mexico. I mean, everything that we're doing is already set according to international law. We just really need people in positions. We have representatives in Tennessee, Arizona, Texas, Mississippi. We got representatives everywhere. We just need people to come together and get under that. And with that said, when you're moving according to international law, these are these are a few reasons why the United States is playing games with us. One, nations only recognize other nations. Even though we are a separate nation of people from them, we are not organized as a nation. Right now, to them, we are just a bunch of Black people calling ourselves Moors. That is what they see us as, because we have no organization whatsoever. None. And then the different larger groups who are progressing, well, no, excuse me, not necessarily progressing, but they have larger amounts of people. I've talked to people, they got like a few hundred people. Because the leadership of these groups, they say they stand on law, but when you talk to them, as someone, I've been to the U.S. Supreme Court 6 times. I've had, I think, 3 considerations by the U.S. Supreme Court, but they never discuss it, but I know how to get there. So when you talk to people who say they know law, but don't actually know law, it will show. So that's another thing that I run into. You have a lot of people out here pretending to know how to do something, but don't really know how to do it. Haven't really had any court cases, haven't initiated it. Yes, you can open a court case. Yes, you can file a document, but can you fight that case? Because that's not the end of the case. That's where you catch a lot of ones in pretending to know law. I fought cases for years. I'm in a case right now. They just tried to settle with me. This case has been going on for 3 years. I just tore up the check. They just sent me a check, a disrespectful check. I just tore it up. I know how to fight. I know how to move in law. And I guarantee you, 90 to 95 of the people, 95% of the people that you encounter who say they know law really don't know law. They may know it by principle, but they don't know how to fight a case. They don't understand motion practice, which is what the brother was talking about when you're filing pleadings and stuff like that. It's called motion practice. When you know motion practice, then you know law, because you know what motions to file. Everything isn't just affidavits. The thing about affidavits are merely statements. They are a statement. They're not telling the court to do anything. They're telling who you are. This is who I am. Now then you have notices, which are similar to affidavits. And then you have motions. Motions have that name for a reason, because they are telling the court to make a motion. They're telling the court to do something. So when you know how to file motions, that's when you're in the game. Because affidavits are only a minor, very minor part of anything. So this is one of the reasons why we've been back for so long, is because ones let their egos get in the way. Yes, you're a leader of this group, but if they find out you don't know these things, I've had people, I've had people flake out in the middle of a conversation while we're talking, like, and just start calling me bitches and all kind of stuff because they couldn't prove that trusts really work, which they don't, because a trust is considered a U.S. citizen under federal law. And any trust that you open up in here using a tax ID number or having it incorporated in the state is considered a U.S. citizen because it's able to be administered in the United States. So it's considered a U.S. citizen. And when you do that with all of your things, put all of your things in trust and all of that, you put them in the possession of another U.S. citizen. So these are principles. I've studied the redemption manual backwards and forwards. I've been doing it for a long time. I've ran through redemption manual 3.0, 4.5, 5.5. I think they're on 6 now. And all of them say the same thing. All of them say the exact same thing. They add a few more stories to it, but they all say the same thing. And that's one of the things that our people, they've forgotten about nationality and gotten caught up on the straw man. The straw man is a system that we're not even in. We're not even in that system. But everybody thinks we are because they've read this redemption manual. When you look at the law itself and the history of how things went, they will tell you that we are not in the system and we never have been in the system. We are simply really running around here willy-nilly like a bunch of black people calling ourselves Moors. That is what we are literally doing right now. That is how they view us because we have no organization. And now I live on the United Nations website. I live on that website. I research every country, every group, anybody who has said they are a part of the United Nations anywhere. And 99.9999999% of the people who are talking about they have a seat in the United Nations are liars. And I stand on that. Because you can't find it. I've run into a brother who said that, and I was like, brother, can you show me some paperwork? Show me something. Oh, no, that's back at home. Well, this common sense dictates that if you are a member of the United Nations or you have some pull in the United Nations, you would have some type of documentation to show that you are connected in the United Nations. You would have that with you at all times. So, and it would be from the United Nations, not something you just made up. So I've run into a lot of that, and I'm not one of those people who can just be told. So I want to see. When I found out about nationality and all of this, I had to see. And yes, I've been researching ever since, and I found a whole lot of stuff, court cases, Supreme Court cases that said the Constitution don't even apply to the states no more. I got cases like that. This is the U.S. Supreme Court. The Constitution only applies to D.C. anymore. It only applies to corporations anymore. And this is the U.S. Supreme Court saying this, 2, 3, 4 cases like that. So there's a misconception when it comes to enforcing the Constitution, because the only thing about the Constitution that we should be enforcing as a separate nation of people is Article 6. And that is treaties are the law of the land. And I'm not talking about the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. I'm not talking about that because we're not Moroccans. And if we were Moroccans, Morocco would have been over here to get us a long time ago. And I'm just saying. I'm just saying. I looked at a
Well,
Moroccan
this
news.
is the platform that teaches that we are, brother. So you have this is the platform that teaches that we are. This is the
Okay, well,
platform that teaches. No, I'm just saying this is the platform. So I'm
okay,
just saying, so that you know, no, you need to be aware of that. As long as you're aware that this is the platform that teaches and proves that we are Moroccans.
okay, I understand that. Okay, I understand that, and that's for the most part
I can't, because
90%.
I can't let that go without saying that. I cannot just let that statement go
I understand.
unchallenged.
I understand. I understand that, and that's about 90% of the movement. 90% of the Moorish divine and national movement teaches and preaches that. So now that being said,
Yeah,
this is
I don't preach anything. I don't
well,
preach anything.
you just said.
No, I'm saying I don't preach. I don't preach. That's all. We
No,
ain't know that. I don't preach.
I'm not talking specifically about you, bro. I'm not talking specifically about you. I just said teachers and preachers because I know those who preach that. So that's all I'm saying. You teach that, others preach that. So with that being said, I run into a lot of brothers who, like such as yourself, and this is to in no way disrespect anyone or anything or any belief, rather. But I know different. And I say that I know different because it's in the law. So it's in the history. So that's all. I'm gonna leave that at that. I'm gonna leave that at that. I'm not gonna challenge that or any of that. I'm just gonna leave that at that. Um, I'll give you another example of and these things that I'm saying, they're on my website. I put the law out there for everyone to see. So another misconception that we have is that there was a nation of people who called themselves Moors. In the history of this planet, there has never been a nation of people who have called themselves Moors. And when I say this, this is moving off of research of Dr. Ivan Van Sertima, Dr. Chancellor Williams, Dr. Dana Reynolds, who I'm friends with on Facebook, and Dr. Dr. Ben Yohakinen. Now, this is where I'm getting that information from. The term Moor was first recorded in 46 BC. And it was a Roman word that when they came across the Mediterranean and seen the dark-skinned Africans, they called them Moors. Maures. It was corrupted down to Moors, which really literally means dark-skinned people. So that word as a European term, when you look at the use of that word, you have to look at who is using that word and in what context they are using the word. That's why, like the movie with Robin Hood, with Morgan Freeman, when they called him a Moor, oh, he's a Moor. He's a dark-skinned person. With Martin Lawrence, the Moor, he's a dark-skinned. Everybody they seen, every dark-skinned person they seen was a Moor. But the Moors themselves had different nationalities. Like, okay, in Dr. Ira Van Sertima's book, Golden Age of the Moor, the original Moors were called the Garamantes. That's who the Romans seen when they came across there, the Garamantes, but they called them Moors, the dark-skinned people. So when you start talking about a Moorish empire, there has never been a Moorish empire. This was the Europeans talking about the Moroccan Empire. Morocco, Algiers, Tunis, Tripoli, all those northwestern, southwestern shores of Africa.